guys, let's talk about this S chassis that JP bought. So JP bought a right-hand drive, super clean S chassis. It's the original two-tone style. Came with like an unmessed up front bumper. Headlights are the good ones, Silvia style, that are pretty rare. So he's pretty pumped on this car because he's a true enthusiast to the S chassis. He's had like 4 of them right now. I think he only has these 2. He just sold one of them because I think he's saving up to buy a piece of property or something. Anyways, we really didn't like the tube work that was done on it. And when he sent me a picture, I was like, what the heck was that dude thinking? Like, ruined that car. So then JP cut out, I'd say like 90% of it, and then left a chunk of it that he didn't have time to do. And like, then we wanted to cut more. So then Joe like just did that part. But JP had like an idea of what he wanted, but then also like open to our ideas. And so then we cut out some stuff where it wasn't like we had to rebuild the whole, like all the sheet metal work. And then me and Joe talked a lot about it, and then we would give like a little bit of input with JP, but then Joe just has been over here building. Oh, Joe's doing Fridays only on this car because this is kind of like a trade deal with JP. And so like we have to keep the doors open, so we've been working on other stuff, and then Joe will just one day a week be on this car. So I'm gonna go now, guys, and Joe will tell you all the details. Unfortunately, you didn't see the beginning. Maybe Joe will help you in your imagination piece it together, and then we'll show you today, and then probably we'll have 2 more days on it, but we'll show you at the end of those 2 days, and Joe can like go over what he does.
Yeah, so when this thing showed up, basically what it had was these 2 tubs that had some like 1 3/4 tubing incorporated into it, and like that's what the whole tube front end and everything, it was incorporated into the firewall here too. So like the tubing like came up and went over the corners here and like went through the tubs, and it was just kind of a lost cause. So what we had to do was cut all that out and like cut it off the frame rails here, cut off like some of the bracketry that was on here and stuff. What we are working on doing is kind of rebuilding the shock towers, because we had to cut out the tubs that were a part of the shock tower. So the first thing I did was kind of make some nice templates for this, and since we don't have like 100% of like every piece of equipment we would need to like fully rebuild the shock towers, we just kind of like made it in our own way. And I bead rolled these and just trying to add as much strength as I can to it without actually adding a ton of weight. So I made this part first, and then last week predominantly what I worked on was this bash bar and getting the front end put back together. So when this came to us, there was no fenders, there were no bumper, there was no headlights or hood or anything on it. So what I did was I put the fenders back onto it and then used those to kind of gauge where exactly everything needed to go. From there, I was able to figure out where the bumper should hang and kind of put the hood on it, got it all level and everything, and built a bash bar, because the bash bar is going to hold up the bumper, which is kind of attached to the fenders, holds up the headlights, holds up everything, so I have an idea of where everything needs to go. After that, I kind of built this little brace down here out of thick wall 1-inch tubing to hold the 2 power braces that hold the tension rod things. I just got back to work on the shock towers here, just kind of adding these dimple-dyed pieces to give it a little flair, add a little bit more strength to it since it's not like super thick steel or anything like that. The next thing that we're going to be working on next week is we'll have this radiator that's going to sit in the stock holes here and here, and it'll sit up like that, just vertical. Right in front of here is going to be the intercooler, and he's going with a pretty small intercooler since he's doing an SR20 and he's only looking to make 300, maybe 350 horsepower. So we're doing a pretty small intercooler, and it's just going to go right here, and the tubing will go right through here, and everything's just going to be nice and tight and clean. I guess that's it. We're waiting on parts right now, but I'm going to finish these up and maybe add a couple more mounting tabs for a couple of things, and after that I guess we'll get back to you guys next week on what we get done. And this is it. It's not all put together, but there's not a whole lot of rust anywhere really, and it's not not smashed up underneath or anything like that. It's pretty damn clean. So we'll get back to you guys on it.
And we're back. All right, guys, so this is 2 more days of work like we had mentioned. Same video, but this is the back half of this project. So we had JP over at least 1 time, maybe if not 2 times since the end of that first video, and we walked him through how we would want to see this out and the way we think it would look good, Joe's input, my input, JP's input, and then kind of like what else he was looking for. And this is where it ended up at. We could kind of visually see everything, but since Joe likes talking about this, we're gonna pass you over to Joe and he'll tell you more about what he was doing and how he kind of made it all come together and happen. This will be the end of this one because this car will leave pretty soon here shortly after Joe finishes up today's work.
Yeah, so since then, I know I already explained to you guys how exactly I was going to do it when I put the fenders on and put the bumper on and kind of finagled it to be in the right position and then built the bash bar off of that. Well, once that was in, that allowed me to build the whole rest of it. So I was able to stick the intercooler in there once we had it, and also build these sidebars that hold the fenders in place. Stuck the radiator in there, which we had to put these little adapter things because we're not using stock bushings. We're using a different set of bushings on the bottom of the radiator that look like this. But anyway, we added some more dimple dyed panels just to kind of make it look good, and also because the metal is pretty thin, it gives it another dimension, so it's a lot stronger than it would have been if we had just left it like this, or even if we had just left this part the way it was without adding this bar here, it would have not been as strong. So there's that, as well as this upper dimple dyed portion. It's got like a little nut on the underside that holds the radiator support brackets.
And it's removable. That was like a request from JP. This needs to be removable.
Yeah, so this whole like T structure thing here comes out as one piece. There's just this bolt at the bottom, which is easy to access with the bumper on, and then these 2 bolts at the top. And if the intercooler is in, it's just got this final little bolt here that kind of holds this and the top of the intercooler.
Headlight tabs.
Yeah, we got the headlight tabs, and it's just got the headlight has a little locator pin on the back of it that goes through the bigger hole, and the 2 smaller holes are just for M6 bolts. I have to weld a nut onto the back of that, but other than that, this is complete and done. Oh, also there's these little threaded hood stopper things that we put on here because this hood doesn't sit perfectly flat because it's a carbon hood, and it's, you know, they're never perfect. So we added these little bumpers so we can adjust it so it fits perfectly flat with the fenders and everything like that. That comes off. The bash bar also comes off, and then it's just like a naked front of a motor if he had a motor in here, but it should make it really easy for him to work on. Yeah,
Looks good. We like it.
really simple.
We're happy with it. Hope you guys like it as much as we do. If you have questions or comments, just ask us and then we'll tell you why or how, or
It's a secret.
maybe it's a secret and we'll
Mind your
just
own
not
business.
answer it. Yeah. But that's JP's Sylvia. He's gonna come pick it up today. Maybe we'll get a quick shot of it with everything bolted back on at the end here for you guys. Hope you enjoyed it.
You ready? You sure?
Yeah, we're ready. Are they ready?
So this is the finished product with the little hood stoppers here, and that's just like, it's just flat and straight, and the panels line up pretty well.
Boom! Pop that hood.
Yeah.
What do you got under there? Oh,
Radiator.
just a radiator.
Yeah, so
I like how this came out.
yeah, that's all. Oh, I added these, and I didn't talk to you about it, but
I saw it when I was over here.
I wasn't sure.
It's cool. I think this is like just enough. Didn't take it too far. Didn't like leave anything out. It was like 1 roll cage worth of tubing in the engine bay, like wrapping around it, like
So there was one
ridiculous.
one tube that went across here. It was like notched into here, and it came back down over there. And then another tube that went like this, and then all the way across the front, and then wrapped back around the other side. It was just.
But we're talking like bigger than
Oh,
roll
yeah.
cage tubing, 1 3/4 inch tubing, and like why? And like the rest of this car is so clean. They even like fully redid some weird stuff on sheet metal here, but
Oh yeah, it was tubbed in the front, but like not
like
we would've
the
wanted.
Forrest Wang style that looks pretty clean, like a different version of their own homemade. So whoever made it put a lot of time into it and liked it, but we made it how JP wants. So hopefully you guys like it, and yeah, this is how everything lined up, even in down there. He's just gonna put an SR. You guys are wondering that, I guess we didn't say that. SR, and he's going for 300 horsepower. Nothing amazing. It's just like clean build street car.
That's why the intercooler is so small. In
Yeah.
case you were thinking that.
Yeah.
It really needs a small intercooler.
It needs like a stock intercooler, but
Otherwise, it'll
yeah.
be laggy.
Yeah. All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the Sylvia S13 right-hand drive. See you guys.